All right, everyone. So, since I first introduced this project, one of the things a lot of people were kind of giving me comments on was that it was somewhat difficult for a lot of you guys to kind of figure out what colors you wanted to do since we're on a limited color palette of around 10 colors, not including white. So, I've come up with this process that hopefully is helpful. So, we've got our template here. And what we're going to do is we're going to add in a bunch of additional layers. All of this is to help you visualize what colors you need. I really want to stress this. When we do this process, it's going to break this down into specific colors using the computer's kind of mathematical whatever. But what's really going to make it work and work well is if you just use that as a reference for your colors and then you decide where those boundaries are and not the computer. And I'll show you what I mean. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to, at the very top, create a adjustment layer that's levels. We'll come back to that in just a moment. The next thing we're going to do, and this is the thing that will probably seem interesting to you, is there is an option called posterization. Now you'll see that this automatically kind of breaks it down into different colors. Once again, if you look at this, it's not really awesome and you'll probably be able to do a much better job yourself. So don't use this as a reference as to where to trace. We're just using this as a shortcut to figure out how many different tones we need for each thing. So we'll make actually 2 more of these. So we can do that by hitting Command or Control J. And then because we're going to be doing this with color, we're going to go in to our hue and saturation. And we're going to take the saturation down to nothing. All right. Now we're going to do so. Here's the thing. We've got right above our kind of collage, we've got levels, then 3 copies, 1, 2, 3 of posterization, and then hue and saturation with the saturation cut down to nothing. Now we're going to go here. You can see under our properties, it has levels 4. We're going to keep that at 4. So we're just going to change this so that we know posterization 4. This one, we're going to take down. So click right here and change that to 3. And change this to posterization 3. So this is basically breaking this down into 3 different levels of lights, darks. And then this last one, we're going to change this to 2. All right. Now that we've gone through there, we can get to our levels. And don't worry if this doesn't look perfect. We're going to go through and kind of bring some more detail back in just a second. But first, let's just kind of adjust our levels if we need to get in what we want. So I'm going to lighten this up just a little bit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to click not on this, but on our little mask. Making sure, then go to our brush, make sure that we've got black selected, and now we can kind of go over areas where we think we need more detail. Usually that's going to be in the faces, not so much in the clothes, but the places where you want to see more, kind of have a little bit more looking at you. So by doing this, I'm getting rid of the 2 layers, and I'm now bringing up 3 layers of color. And because this is where the most detail is going to be, we'll do that over here as well. I also know Michael Myers has a little bit of flesh tone there, a little bit of flesh tone there. And now I want to bring this all the way up to 4 different colors for my flesh tones. So I'm going to go up to this 3 and erase that or mask that out using the masking tool. Okay. And that's enough to really kind of bring interest in on that. Since we'll get the flesh tones here for free, we'll bring that in as well. I think with Michael Myers, probably we just need to have 1 more level of detail. So we're just going to go down to this one and mask that out and see how that works. Okay, and I think with the clothes and everything, that's all working fine. All right, so we've got that done. Now what we need to do is just check out our colors and make sure that we're within the 10 limitation, remembering that white is a free one, so 11 if you include white. So to do that, we're going to create a new layer at the very top here above our hue and saturation. We'll call this color. And then we're going to use these layer styles. So the one that I've found works the best is overlay. You're welcome to play around with these, but I think overlay is going to be your best bet. And now, if I take this, and let's say I want Jamie Lee Curtis's dress to be red, I'm just going to increase that. And once again, this is just to give us a basic guide of what we want. The whole thing is a template. We're going to turn all of this off when we bring it into Illustrator to trace. I really don't want you guys to use this area in like the face and stuff like that for your tracing. You can see it kind of doesn't look perfect because the computer's just kind of doing what it's doing. This is just for you to kind of get an idea. All right, so then we'll go into our flesh tones. Just get a rough idea of a flesh tone there. You can see it's bringing that black and white in there, changing that into that. Now, obviously, I'm going to simplify this when we go to tracing. I am not going to do the fishnets because I don't think that they add enough to validate that. And then right here, we've got a flesh tone here. Okay. And then because Michael Myers' mask is white, we'll just use those different shades of gray. And this gives us a good idea of what we're going to want. And then just to make sure that we have the right amount of colors, I'm going to click here, create a new layer. Let's call this palette. I probably spelled that wrong. And remember the Option or Alt key will give us this little eyedropper. So we're going to click here. I'm just going to make sure that my brush is at 100% hardness. So that red is one color. Then we'll start with the darkest 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've gotten all the flesh tones there. We've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 of the flesh tones. We should have 3, 4 if you count the black. So let's get the black. 1, 2, 3 of the black and white. And so that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 2 other colors that we could play with. I could bring some color in here for the hair if I wanted to, which I probably will. And if I wanted to, I could maybe even bring in another level of gray for Michael Myers. All right. The big thing is when you bring this template in, which I'll show you how to do in the next assignment, make sure you turn all of this off. I do not want you guys, I can't stress enough, do not take the shortcut of just tracing around where the posterization is. Your eye is much better than the computer's guess. This technique that I'm showing you is simply a way to get an idea of how many colors you want to use and how you want to mix them up. Okay? If you really want to go even, if you really want to even mess with things and kind of go with a very weird color style, you could even go in and do another hue and saturation at the top here and just change that and see how those work. All right, but this is just to give you a good idea. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.